Well, I'm now joined by Diana Furchtgott-Roth from the Washington-based think tank, the Hudson Institute, to talk about this a little more. I guess she was the front runner, Diana, for some time. Would you read much into the fact that she's a woman in terms of what she might bring to the job?
She's extraordinarily well qualified. She's been with Baker & McKenzie, a Chicago law firm, for 25 years. She headed Baker & McKenzie in the days before affirmative action was fashionable, and she has clearly won on her own grounds.
Why is it important that she's a lawyer?
Well, I think being a lawyer is perhaps a little bit of a disadvantage. Being an economist, I think, would be more helpful in understanding what's going on in Europe right now. But as an economist, I will not hold the fact that she's a lawyer against her. But the fact that she has achieved a lot in her career, it's not so much that she's been a lawyer, but she's moved up through the ranks and has headed this firm, Baker & McKenzie, as well as being the finance minister under President Sarkozy.
She has, though, a difficult task ahead from a number of perspectives. One of them is that there is some opposition from developing countries to continually have a European at the helm.
Well, that is true, and at some point in the future that might change. But for now, she seems to be one of the best qualified candidates around.
What do you think? Clearly her agenda is going to be topped by Greece. Will she have to adjust her mindset quite significantly, do you think, from being the French finance minister and within the Eurozone to effectively being outside it and having to view the problem from a very different perspective?
Well, the trouble is that being French, she is committed to an entire, one-stage euro, a complete euro. She's not willing to say a two-track euro. She's not willing to consider Greece going back to its own currency. And the way Greece is right now, its problems could very easily be mitigated if its currency were devalued. Goods would become less expensive, more tourists would come in, its exports would become more competitive. So that's the main disadvantage. And the measures that the IMF and the European Central Bank have imposed on Greece are very punitive. They have a negative growth rate right now. They're being asked to raise taxes, to cut spending. It's a recipe for disaster, and we're seeing riots in the streets right now.
Do you think there comes a point at which the IMF might decide that it is not its ongoing role to support Greece?
Well, I think it might be in the IMF's role to suggest a different path, perhaps forgiving some of the debt, perhaps moving it away from the euro. The euro is a disadvantage to Portugal, Ireland, Italy, Greece, Spain, what we call the pigs, because they are being held into a currency where it would be easier for them to let go and become more competitive and have a devalued currency. They can't devalue their currency as they're part of the euro.
Diana Furchtgott-Roth, thank you very much indeed. As the Eurozone